Alright, again, just a little quick update for you. I have resprayed the rear driver side door handle, which was absolutely fine in terms of, you know, the brass fitting the bolt. I was absolutely fine with that. This is not one of the broken ones, but the paint was so faded it was untrue. It had been resprayed, I think, according to the service history, around 2014, 8 years ago, but whatever they did, the lacquer wasn't very good and the paint was just fading. Maybe they didn't even use lacquer by the look of it. It was going cream. But now I basically I took the handle out. It's very easy. All you do is you take out a pin here that goes through this lever and this return spring, and it all comes out as one, and this pin here, just punch it straight out. They are a bit tight, but they're designed to be tight. Yeah, so that is all sorted. I mean, I've sanded it down to about 1500 grit, which was smooth enough, and then I'd put a little bit of plastic primer just around the edges where it gone down to the primer, because I wanted to make sure it was even. And then I put some MBB Starlight Silver in an aerosol can, and it's a decent colour match, but comparing it with the paintwork on the car, it's going to stand out a little bit. I knew that would happen because the paintwork needs a full polish on the car. That's going to happen at a later date. I didn't expect it to be pristine, but I'm going to do exactly the same with a brand new handle that is coming very, very soon. And that's going to go on the passenger rear, because that one is completely, utterly shot. So I'm going to, again, I've got the handle over here with a few bits. We've just got the lever and the spring. As I say, I've got all sorts of bits lying around at the moment. I've got the handle, and that will go and swap onto the one I've bought, because the one I've bought is from Poland. They fit Honda Civics, etc. It's all the same door handle as the 45, which is great. It's just a black handle and a black outer, so I'm going to have to sand it down again with 1500 grit, make sure it's nice and smooth, and then obviously paint it up and then swap the handles over. It should be a really simple job, and hopefully I should now have two rear door handles that are painted and good to go back on the car. Anyway, that's another time. I have the arrival of just a random switch off the dashboard, and the reason for this is because obviously the hazard warning switch I took apart to clean because I thought there was a problem there. Obviously I've discovered it's now the siren. Unfortunately, I've missed one of these tabs, which goes, well, there's one there and there's one at the bottom. They're all the same, these facelift switches. They're a bit cheap, and I'll show you why. And there should be a rubber piece that presses from the switch onto the circuit board itself. This little blob here, you should push that little pointer. Now, my theory is, and I'm going to discover this in a few minutes when I take this apart, is that the internal rubber should be the same for all of them. There should be a little single switch there that operates on whatever, basically whatever switch it is. The circuit boards will be different, obviously. This is the hazard switch circuit board, and it will go with this. It won't go in that, it's not interchangeable. But the actual rubber thing should be interchangeable. This is because I just can't get hold of one of these. I can't understand why it's so difficult. I mean, I know they're facelift models and only made for a year, but they're really difficult to get parts for. But I managed to get this one, which is for a heated back screen. But I'm going to take this apart, use the useful bits, and put it on here. It's really difficult to actually get this into the car, because when you've clipped it in, this is just a spring to just keep it loaded, but into the dashboard. But these prongs that stick out, getting them clear from the dashboard is really difficult. You sort of have to push it in while you're inserting it into the dashboard, because the ones on this, and look how bent they are to the sides. I mean, I don't know how that's managed to happen. I'll bend them back in. I've got to be quite careful, but I could dissect this and use that case instead of this. We'll see how this goes, but I'll dissect this by taking these springs off, and then we'll unload it. Well, unload it sounds like a rifle. We'll see what the insides are like. The best way of doing this is using a pick to just push on these pointers. There's one on this side, there's one on the bottom, and one on the other side, and it just literally comes apart. And this is the moment of truth. See, that's the switch side, and we have a rubber insert. Oh, come on. I have to have two hands for this. Right, what I had to do is I had to take the back piece out just by pushing all these tags upwards and sideways, and then it released the whole circuit board at the back where it tags on. Now, the piece of rubber sat on the top, and the piece that this little sticky out button thing here, I'm trying to show you in this light, there you go, that button hits that gold plate, not the two I don't know what they are, diodes or something. It's the gold plated piece of the circuit board. On the hazard switch, it's like almost the opposite. So what I've got to do is turn it round and then it will work. So if I just place this on camera, I think this might be a bit impossible. It is, damn you. But basically you get the idea. It will sit the opposite way around, which is quite clever, and that will work now because I know that that is spaced to that. So it's the exact opposite of that switch. I was very lucky because I looked at it and thought, oh damn it, there isn't a diode there, but there's a diode there. So is that going to be completely different? Turns out it isn't. That rubber item is just standardized, which I thought would be the case with all these switches, that they're basically made by the same company. They're all the same. And you just they've literally turned it around for different switches. So I'm going to pop this back together, and that's going to go back on the car. It is a very easy way of actually doing it. I've actually done it without taking these springs out. These springs can just slide out this way, but just make sure they're popped back in, and we're going to pop the circuit board back together. I'm actually going to use this as opposed to this. I'm going to split this box from this switch because these tags are completely bent, and I think I've almost broken one actually. That was really silly of me, but this is the thing, when you learn about taking things apart first time, inevitably you're probably going to break it unless you're very unlucky. Second time round, no breakages. So I'm going to swap all these gizmos. So I'm going to put that with that and put these internals in, and then we're done. The rest of it is spares. See you very soon, guys. Take care.